Hello, Saylorville students. Our name is John and Bev Leonard. We're missionary church planners in Brazil. We've been planning churches for 30 years now, and we thoroughly enjoy it. We have personally been and are a part of 14 church plants. Those churches have gone out and started twice that many churches already, and we keep in close touch with them. But we are here today to share with you about the cost of missions. If you've ever been outside the borders of the United States, you will find out that the world is not as nice as we have it here. We are privileged. We are in United States of America. So the first thing I would like to bring up about the cost of missions is the physical cost. They don't have hospitals. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the EMTs, the ambulances. Well, I guess they have ambulances, but you'll see them heading down to the beach with their family in the ambulance during the weekend, because I guess you're not supposed to get sick on the weekend. And they use them for other things rather than hauling people to the hospital. But leaving the United States of America and going to another country, most countries in the world do not have it as nice as we do. The Lord called us to start a church in a slum called Coqueiro Seco, Dry Coconut, and we were warned that the police could not come in. We were all on our own. In fact, there was a little police precinct across from the church, but the drug lords forced the police to leave. And the next day, a family was living in the police precinct, and they're still living there today. We were in close touch with the drug lords. They were the ones that ran the slum. People were getting saved. People were getting saved out of drug habits, and they weren't buying drugs. And the drug lord got upset. And instead of coming and asking us to leave, he ordered someone to come shoot me. So Sunday night after an evening service, a man came up to me. I was greeting people as they left by the door. Came up to me and shot me 6 times. I was air ambulanced back to the United States, back here to Des Moines. And when I woke up, I found out from the coma, that I was a quadriplegic. So there is a great cost of missions. A verse that I'd like to share you about the cost of serving the Lord, about doing what He wants you to do, is found in Luke chapter 22, verse 42. We just went through the Easter. This was in the Garden of Gethsemane. Christ was praying and He said, "Father, if you are really willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." We have to have that attitude. Not our will, but God's will be done. God's will be done. Financially, you have to rely on the Lord also to pay the bills, to pay for the work, because when you start a church, there's no believers, no one giving their tithes and offerings, so it's just you. And sometimes things get pretty tight. I had a very good job before I became a missionary, and we drove to the bank and dropped off the last check after I quit my very good job. And Bev usually speaks good things, not bad things. But this day she said something that she regrets saying, as I have things that I have said that I regret saying, but once you have said them, there's no retracting them. She said, there goes our security. And it wasn't that at all. It's from that day on, we had to rely on the Lord to take care of us. We went to Brazil as missionaries. We raised 4 children, one of them being Jared, the other one being Jeannie, and then John and Joshua, our other 2. And we started a bunch of churches, and God has always supplied, and He has supplied, and He will supply. We have never doubted that. There's an encouraging verse, a couple verses in the Bible I'd like to share with you about riches here on earth, and not to worry about it and not to lose sleep over it, but to, as born-again believers, as children of the King, we should rely on God for it. Matthew chapter 6, 19 and 20. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Where your treasure is where your heart is. Where is your heart? Where is my heart? Where is our heart today? The cost of missions, spiritually. I saved the best for last because our spiritual health is what is most important to us, because that is the one that brings us nearer to God or further away from Him. As missionaries, we have always had large youth groups, and we have always been careful to have them over to our house on Saturday night. As Jared was growing up on the mission field, we would have between 30 and 35 young people in our house every Saturday night, and we would fix them things like pizza and burritos and what else?
Cachorro quente.
Cachorro quente. Okay.
Hot dog.
Hot dogs?
Sloppy Joes.
Sloppy Joes with hot dog all mixed in one, okay? And that's what we fixed them. Luke chapter 10, verse 27. The man answered, "You must love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Who is your neighbor? We are in a time of social distancing, so we can go online now. Who is your neighbor? Your neighbor is all those who are on your phone, on your Facebook page, on your Twitter, or whatever list of people you have. They are your neighbor. And you can't physically get near them right now, but you can reach out to them. And spiritually, you can grow through that. You can spend your time sharing with them. You can spend your time making a list of things that you plan to do that will honor God when this time of social distancing is over. I'm reading a story about a missionary who went to China first, then he went to India, and he ended up in Africa, and that is where he passed away at 70 years old. His name is Charles Thomas Cobb. And of course, there's a poem that he wrote, and part of the poem says, "Only one life, 'twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last." My heart is still in Brazil. We're looking forward to going back. Follow your heart. That is what I want to share with you today. Whatever you do, follow your heart. Don't count the cost. Leave that up to God. Lord bless you.